Hello everyone and welcome back to VLADA'S place. I just made a first batch of moonshine for this year, and since we have some extra grapes, I'm going to show you how moonshine making is done. So literally just this morning I finished up cleaning all the equipment that we used for distilling the grapes. So there was a big mess and it took me a long time to get everything clean. And while I was cleaning, I was swearing that I'm not going to do this again. And this afternoon, the very same day, my dear friend, Mr. Manzano, shows up with buckets of ripe organic grapes. Look how beautiful this is. And here I am, all over, doing it once again, because I can't let the good grapes go to waste. So here we go all over again. We're just gonna blame Perfecto for showing up with these beautiful grapes. And I told him the only way I'm making moonshine again is if he helps me. Preparing grapes for fermentation takes a while, especially if you have to do it by hand. Those who do this professionally also have equipment which makes this process much easier and much faster. So we're making brandy or moonshine with grapes, but you can use any ripe, sweet, very sweet and ripe fruit to make fermented and make brandy. I wish you could try these. I've been eating so many, and I know they have too much sugar, but so hard to resist. So good. Last batch of grapes that I did, we didn't have time to pick them or to squish them by hand, so I fermented them together with the stem. The brandy or the moonshine came out okay, but I know that it's much better if we can remove the stem and just have the grapes fermenting without the stem. So there are 3 buckets here, and there are 3 more in a car. So if we go and do this by hand, we're gonna be here till midnight. We're gonna try something different. And so Perfecto was suggesting that maybe, I don't know, this is gonna be crazy, but maybe we will put the chair, oh, this is already so heavy. We'll put the chair like this, and then we're gonna just try to squish the grapes on that. Let's see. Ah!
Maybe.
Okay, let's secure this. Huh? Right. I might not have any chairs left. Oh, very good. So the best way to come with the new inventions is through struggle sometimes. And so when you struggle, your brain kicks in and you start to think of ways to do things quicker and better. Oh, this is awesome. Now I'm officially a hillbilly. Growing up on country definitely has its benefits, because you're always in a situation where you have to improvise, because you're not near the store sometimes, or you just don't have time. So you have to make things happen, and you have to use your mind to help you solve the problems as quickly and efficiently as possible. Okay, this is awesome. This is squishing the grapes. It's getting the juice out, and it's removing the stem. Now, by the time we're done with all of this, I'll have no palms left, but at least I'll get the job done. This little system worked really well. So not just that we are removing the grapes from the stem, but also each individual grape is getting squished, which is exactly what we want. Still, this was taking a whole lot of time. Okay, as I said, the best way to invention is through struggle sometimes. Since we are literally gonna lose the palms of our hands, we're gonna try something new. Okay, perfecto. Let's see if this works. Oh yeah, baby. All right. Very good. Almost 3 hours later, and we were squishing the last batch. This definitely was an exhausting job, but at the same time, it was a lots of fun. And this is one of the reasons I do silly things like this, because this is far better than sitting on my couch. I don't know if it's crazy or you were right. Oh, looks good, huh? Looks really, really good. And we did good. Really good. You have some stuff that's almost like raisins in there. It's sweet.
Entonces quiero otro de esto especial por limpiar esto.
Our container was so full, it was ready to bust. So we had to make sure that we reinforce it and keep it together until fermentation was done. With this stage behind us, now all that's left to do is to wait for grapes to start fermenting. So this is a 4th day of fermentation. And as you can see, the majority of the grapes and grape skin have moved to the top. So it's important to continue to mix in so that fermentation takes place evenly. So to do this, there is a very simple tool that a lot of winemakers use. It's basically a stainless steel stick with a plate-like attachment on the bottom. And so you would just go and press on these grape skins, and they would go in. But since I don't have that, another easy way to do this would be just using your hands. So as you can see the difference in the color, the skins there are on the top, they oxidize and they turn brown, while the ones on the bottom are still nice and green. So all we want to do is to mix them all in, push the top layer to the bottom, because all the juices are on the bottom now. See, this looks really good, and it smells phenomenal, just phenomenal. A healthy fermenting fruit. And when I say healthy, that means fermentation is taking place just as we want to. And if I had more time, I would have mixed this more often, but we were away for 3 days. So that's why I had this thicker layer of the grape skins that turn darker. So if you are home and you can churn the skin more often, that would be better. Now, depending on the temperature and the sugar content of the fruit, fermentation can be done anywhere between 7 days to 2 weeks. I'm just gonna go squish a few more grapes that were not broken. And to explain to you, it's hard to explain to you when is the really perfect time for the, when fermentation is done and you can start distilling. This is something that I do just by smell, what I remember from my mom. And for those of you who have never done it, again, I'll have to ask you to do some more research on your own. Perhaps there are instruments and gadgets that can help you with that. But for me, it's just the look and the smell of the fruit that tells me it's time to brew. So right now, we are in our 4th day. And the fruit, I can still smell the real smell of juice, of fruit, of grapes. And that means the fermentation is just starting, and it's going to take probably another week or so before we are ready to distill. So I'll come back to show you again what this fruit looks in maybe 3 or 4 days. And then in the meantime, I'll continue to mix it and to rotate the grapes and make sure that they are submerged in the juices, because that's how they ferment the best. 13 days into fermentation and we are ready to distill. What I'm doing here is simply removing the upper layer of skin. Now we no longer need the skin, so I'm just going to remove it. So this way we will have access to only the fluids below. Let's talk about the distiller.
You can purchase a small distiller like mine online for anywhere between $150 to $250. One disadvantage to these distillers is that they are very small. As a result, the distilling process takes quite a long time, which ultimately might work to your advantage because you can use this time to socialize with your neighbors, which this is something that I do when we make moonshine. This is a perfect opportunity and a reason for me to gather my neighborhood around me and to spend time just sitting around and waiting for the first droplets of moonshine to come about. Like for my mom, alcohol is not a big thing in my life, yet I still like making moonshine. So one would wonder why. Well, there's actually a perfectly good explanation. First thing, I like growing fruits and vegetables. I like to see plants growing around me and bearing fruits. Now, once you have a fruit, you have to do something with it. And in this case, the most natural thing to utilize grapes and would be to make wine. But I don't know how to make wine, so I turn them into moonshine. Another reason is I love preserving these old world skills. And in today's era where we are all so busy with internet and social media, I think putting breaks and turning around and doing something simple as this is good, not just for our mind and our soul, but it's also good socially because this is a great opportunity to slow down, to reconnect with yourself and to reconnect with nature and with people around you.
Finally, when you come to this point of distilling, the things are very simple. You have a pot in which you will boil that mash that we made earlier, and usually the boiling temperature is around 180 something, and obviously you're gonna need a fire, you're gonna need the pot, and the pot will need to have a copper pipe. And if you wanna come closer, this is something that you can easily make yourself, or you can buy something like this online. What's happening here, you have a steam coming and going through the pipe. It's going down through coil and it's getting chilled here or condensed. And whatever condenses actually turns into alcohol because the alcohol evaporates first. And so as the alcohol evaporates, the cold water will help condense it, and on this end here you have moonshine or alcohol coming out. So it's actually so simple, and depending on the fruits that you use, depending on the fermentation process, the weather, temperature, and a lot of things, you might brew a different moonshine or different taste to your alcohol. But we are very lucky to get our hands on a very good grapes. Fermentation process went perfectly because the temperatures were in high 70s, so it was a slow fermentation, and now we're just distilling, and the alcohol that we're getting, it's really good. So in this particular case, we have the undertone of raisins because the grapes were really ripe and sweet. So the fragrance and the taste of this moonshine is raisiny and sweet. It's very good. And it's also very strong. Woo!
The distilling continued for 2 days, and we continued to host and invite guests. Bottom line is we had lots of fun and we got some amazing moonshine. Now, if you ask me if this was worth it, I would instinctively say no, because a bottle of this kind of moonshine should cost $200. But then again, doing the things that we truly love and that make us happy is simply priceless. Thank you so much for watching and for spending time with me. My name is Vlada Vladic, and I'm a founder of a charitable organization called VLADA'S Seeds of Life and a producer of a quality family program called Cooking and Kids. If you like videos like these, please subscribe and send us your likes. Till our next video, please take good care of yourself and those around you.